In media, it has always been about those moments. The moments that stick with you after it's over. Be it movies and TV shows like Game of Thrones. Breaking Bad.
Are you saying you want to die?
I'm saying I've lived too long.
Inception.
You're waiting for a train.
All of them had moments that made them rise above, that made the stories they told unforgettable. Expand that to video games and you get BioShock.
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly?
Walking Dead. It's always been hard for me to fully immerse myself because I've always just felt smarter than the movie or the game, even if I'm not. But when 12-year-old me played Borderlands 2 for the first time and watched as Lilith pulled an entire city out of the ground and disappeared, I was hooked. The magic of it was that it wasn't a cutscene. You were experiencing the chaos in-game. You felt a genuine sense of urgency and panic. From just a technical standpoint, the fact that you were watching an entire city rise from the ground, where nowadays is the most technical prowess you're gonna get out of a game is their graphics. That moment alone stands as a testament to that game. And it's those moments like that, it's little things like that, little details, little moments. Those are the ones that I live for. And Borderlands 3 didn't have those moments. Borderlands 3's story is unfocused and meanders its way through its dozens of characters in a story where no one really shines. Too many characters is always a concern when you're writing a story of this size, but seeing the recent success of similar stories who tackle the same issues, I was pretty optimistic. Borderlands 3 suffers not from too many characters, but from too many story threads. In other examples, they approach this kind of story by splitting up characters into different teams with individual tasks and plots of their own, but still all surrounding the main driving plot. Borderlands 3 fails pretty badly in executing this because all of the characters are not interested in the main story, in the main plot. The search for the vaults doesn't matter to any of the other characters because they have such big stories on their own, but the driving plot cannot stop to explore them or resolve them in any satisfying way. Athena's and Maya are a perfect example. The only reason why we go to Athena's is for a piece of the vault key we need. But when you think about it, that vault key could have been anywhere. There's no special significance to that place in terms of vaults. The only reason why we go to Athena's is for Maya. We get to see an old friend again and someone we've played as before in the past, and she joins your group and the raiders and comes to look for the vault with you, which is how all of the other characters should have been handled. Then literally 2 seconds later, also Reese didn't have to be in the story. Nothing about Reese actually mattered to the plot. I always imagined they would use what he saw in the vault to give him knowledge of some kind which would directly link him to the vault and the hunt for the vaults and make him extremely important. But they never address his backstory, and when they do, it's vague. And I mean vague. The characters don't come with us, don't really interact with us, where we do something for them and then we just leave and go on our way. And this is especially noticeable at the end of the game, where this big climactic fight with the Calypsos was building up and it was only just you. It seemed like no one else was coming with you, and no one did. It was just you and Tannis, I guess. Big difference from Borderlands 2, where everyone kind of contributed to the fight in their own way. And they made that climactic sequence, that finality, that towards the end of the game where it was really rising up to the ending, and it made it that much more alive. Everyone had to come together to fight Jack because he felt like a legitimate threat. Everyone was invested in this character, in this enemy, because he messed with everybody's lives. And so every single one of them understood how much of a threat he actually was. It feels like they don't even treat Tyreen and Troy as real threats the way Jack was. And it's sad to say, but Maya only mattered to the story to legitimize the antagonist, which ultimately fell right on its face. Now, the antagonist. Thinking back to Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack is undoubtedly one of the greatest antagonists of all time. His wit and his humor completely defined who he was from the moment we got into the game. One of the first things we experience with him is how he bought a pony made of diamonds and he wanted to name it Butt Stallion. And from there, you as the player have to ask, how can this guy be a bad guy? How can this guy be a threat? Well, this is how.
I'm going after Jack. Son.
Bastard! I'm gonna...
Language. What's that saying? Don't pick a fight with a man with nothing left to lose. See, I'm gonna show you just how much you have to lose. And I got the most powerful siren on the planet to do it with. Lilith, kill the Vault Hunter. We've got a date to keep with the warrior.
His wit and his humor are contrasted by the anger and bitterness bubbling beneath, which fueled his belief that somehow he was the hero. What made him special was that on the outside he was this larger-than-life sociopathic tyrant, but on the inside he was just a man. A man with virtually unlimited resources and a massive army, but just a man. And more than that, a father. A father who wanted a better world for himself, for his family. A father who was scarred along the way and became paranoid of everything and everyone. And when he saw that his daughter had manifested siren powers, he looked at her and didn't see his daughter anymore. He saw in those siren tattoos the only power in the universe that could ever stop him. And he was right. It's these contrasts that made him so interesting and complex. As he realizes the curtains are closing, that self-pity turns to anger and targetless rage, and you realize that death is nothing to a broken man.
See, I could have saved this planet. See, I could have actually restored order. And I wasn't supposed to die by the hands of a child-killing psychopath! You're a savage! You're a maniac! You are a bandit! And I am the goddamn hero!
Yeah, Troy and Tyreen fucking sucked. Troy and Tyreen really just suffered from the whole story being too busy and their characters not getting the development I feel they deserved. They definitely had potential to be great. There was a particular scene that stuck with me. It was in the underground train station on Promethea when Tyreen and Troy took over the intercom and he started cracking jokes. And that got me thinking, these are just children. And sure, you could credit it to Borderlands humor, but I think it really works for them. The idea that these are just children with power they have no idea how to control. The power to leech in itself has this connotation that you have to take another life to survive. And how that would corrupt these orphans with no family and no home is definitely compelling and gives a lot of options for development. What we got instead were these indecisive dynamics where Tyreen starts off being very dismissive of Troy, calling him her parasite. But that dynamic would never present itself as the game progressed. They then started setting up that Troy was going to go rogue, probably due to the unhealthy relationship with Tyreen, but then that never happens either. It's very clear they had no clear route to take these characters, only that their story had to be resolved in Borderlands 3 to make way for future enemies, which results in very incomplete characters with a quick send-off. But I always just keep thinking, what if they had gotten the screen time I feel they deserved? What if their relationship derailed after Troy gained powers of his own? What if they split off and Tyreen was left to open the Great Vault by herself? And more importantly, what if she could do it? Even without Troy? What if she won? I was more than disappointed with the story. Even as I was playing, I could almost always tell what was going to happen.
Oh, dude, he's got powers too. He's got powers too, dude. He's her parasite. Oh my god, you stupid. You're so stupid. Yeah, she's a siren. I fucking knew it. Come on, let me add 0. This fake 0, I'm pretty sure it's fake. That is 100% not 0.
Then, by the time they finally surprised me, the game ended not too long after.
So Troy and Tyreen are his children. Oh fuck. That's why they're children of the vault. Holy fuck. I was starting to think that you guys are getting predictable. Now you guys are getting too slick now. Alright, you guys need to relax.
Whenever I am disappointed in an unfulfilling ending, I like to think of what the alternatives could have been. And this game had many routes to take. But what I think would have made this game great is a simple concept. Just have the good guys lose. Not too dissimilar from Infinity War, where you're telling a story so huge there's no possible way you could fit it into one movie without making Thanos a complete bitch or pulling some ex machina to defeat him. This game, I feel, could have benefited from that as well, having a 2-part sort of setup to it. I think Tyreen should have won. I think instead of comparing Tyreen to Handsome Jack, we should be contrasting both of those characters. Handsome Jack was honestly just a man, but Tyreen had the ability to be a god, to be truly the strongest being in the universe. And she got taken out by 4 dudes, just random vault hunters that just got together. But what if she didn't? Instead of having her die in an extremely underwhelming way, what if she defeated everyone? Throughout the course of the game, instead of just going to random planets, grabbing something we need and then leaving and nothing happening, why not have Tyreen be a constant thing in the game, a constant threat to everywhere we go, and not just telling us that, oh, she's gonna come for the vault or whatever, but actually be a constant threat to the world, and not just us going to planets to get something, but we actually have to go and rescue the planets or rescue the people in the planets and kind of recruit them to Sanctuary and to the Crimson Raiders, because we have to save them, we have to protect them, because Tyreen is legitimately destroying people. And while rescuing them, we're recruiting more and more people and gaining more and more allies and amassing this bigger and bigger army of people who truly hate Tyreen, and not just, well, we're gonna watch you from afar, you guys have fun over there, kind of dynamic. And it all builds up to this final confrontation where Tyreen leeches Lilith's power, and you'd have a chance for a moment there. A moment like in an Endgame, and I'm gonna keep referencing Endgame just because I feel this game was just a worse version of Endgame, if I could say that. But Endgame had the part at the end, the fight at the end with Thanos and Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. And one by one they got taken out, and the last one standing was Captain America. And when he looked up and he saw this massive army, he saw his fate, he saw his doom, he saw everyone's doom. He saw defeat in front of him in massive numbers, in an undeniable scenario. And he looked at that, he looked at his certain death, he looked at defeat in the face, and he just... Now that's a fucking moment. I feel Lilith should have been that way. Even after Tyreen leached her powers, I feel she had a chance to really show off, instead of just dying a useless ex machina by just throwing herself into a moon to save a planet that didn't need to be saved. Why not just actually just show us the character, who she is, show us who she was before she died, you know? I feel, and that would have left everything with so much more on a so much more somber note, but as well as a much more exciting note, because now the hunt for the Vault Hunters is really on. The thing that the Watcher predicted at the end of the pre-sequel, it really is gonna come true. This get every single Vault Hunter you can to fight this goddess, to fight this the most powerful being in the universe, the end all be all. You need, that's why it will all culminate in this giant fight against this person with insane amount of Vault Hunters and insane amount of powerful people. The reunion of all of the 6 Sirens, Axton, Sal, Krieg, Gage, the Necromancer, is literally mentioned like vaguely in one echo. That's it. No more. Just one echo, just random echo from, literally doesn't matter. But it's the only clue we have as to her still being in existence. Tina, Mordecai, Brick, Sasha, Fiona. Where's Fiona? Fiona doesn't get referenced at all. Which, again, like Reese, she should be pretty important. She's opened the vaults. She is an official Vault Hunter. So she's pretty important as well. Again, I feel what they saw in the vault is pretty important. But the point is, even if you use the characters just from Borderlands 3, there's still so much firepower out there. And I'm sure they know that. And that's why I still think, even though the game itself was very lackluster, I still think there is so much to look forward to. And that is one thing that I will give credit to the writers 100%, is that they definitely plan this. This is not mistake. This is not Game of Thrones where they just completely just shat the bed and there's just nothing you can do about it.
While Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces, they certainly haven't forgotten about her.
No, she clearly didn't forget. How is she supposed to know what's happening when you don't even know what's happening?
No, this for sure, there's definitely carved a path here going somewhere. We just need to kind of be patient, I guess, until that becomes a little more clear. But there's definitely a place we're going, and there's definitely something that's gonna happen, and they have it in their head, and they're not just, hopefully not just gonna bullshit out of it. But again, all of these questions still need to be answered. You know, where are all of these Vault Hunters, the people that we know, Axon, you know, Sal, Krieg, where are those guys? What are they doing? Where did they go, you know, after Borderlands 2? Again, I'm sure this will be answered, if not in DLC, in the next game, but for now, the story of Borderlands 3 is very much incomplete, and you unfortunately feel it at the end of the game. All that we can do is just trust in the people that have delivered greatness once before. But with that said, that'll be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Come check out some of my other stuff. Definitely just getting started, but I've got a lot more content coming. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Peace.